Hello and welcome to the 2022 Global Energy Managers Workshop. We thank you for joining us on Zoom today as we discuss the very important topic of decarbonization at the campus level with speakers from all over the world. My name is Brianna Dooley and I am a graduate student in the Energy Graduate Group at UC Davis, and I will be your MC for today's workshop. I will first introduce Dr. Kornbluth and Joshua Morejohn to kick off our first session for today.
Hey, Brianna, thanks a lot. So like Brianna said, welcome to the Global Energy Managers Workshop. I'm Kurt Kornbluth. I'm the director of the Program for International Energy Technologies at UC Davis. And today, myself and Josh Morejohn, who's the executive director of Utilities and Engineering at UC Davis, and we'll be giving you a little bit of introduction, and then we'll go through the agenda, and we'll bring on the keynote. So please, any questions or concerns, please put them in the chat, and we'll do our best to address them as we can. So logistics today, obviously exciting days of sessions from 9 to 2:50. It's obviously Zoom, so keep your microphone off unless you're talking. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. It's enabled, so you can connect with each other. Sessions are being recorded, and we'll share that on our website. There's a short survey at the end, and we have a few polls in the middle, which you'll get to see. And if there's any issues, send the chat to the organizer and emails. So they're up there. Any questions, just go ahead. So this Energy Managers Workshop was precipitated at an original initiative we had called Sustainable Campus, Sustainable Cities. And we recognized years back, as Josh and I are working together, I'm a professor and I'm project-based courses, and Josh was back then only working in facilities and energy engineering, that there's a lot of similarities between our campus, which is 60,000 people per day, 5,000 acres, 1,200 buildings, having a bunch of our own utilities, including cold water, central heating plant, that tracked over to cities. And if we're trying to be decarbonized and try to make for a more sustainable world, recognizing that over 40% of the world's energy consumption comes from these buildings, which we have many on a campus. So this kind of idea of having a living lab, which was UC Davis, taking the learnings and being able to track them over to other campuses, and also being able to track some of those learnings over to cities. So that's kind of the sustainable campus, sustainable cities idea. It's very much in line with UN development goals, especially around, obviously, obviously climate action, affordable clean energy, and this even tracks over to food security and all these other ones, because UC Davis is not only working on being more sustainable in the kind of building areas, but we're also working even personally around sustainable food systems and things like that. So we're very much on track with UN development goals. When we talk about sustainable campus, sustainable cities, just to give you an idea of what that is, there's four main components of it, and it's we progress, research, education, and impact. And progress is what we're doing on our own campus to bring ourselves to either zero net energy, cleaner fuels, more sustainable, right? So that's our own campus, and that's us working with graduate students, with faculty, to make that happen on our own campus. And then research is us spinning those learnings out, generalizing them, publishing them, right? And so we're using UC Davis as a living lab. We're publishing that research. We're trying to get it out there. And then education is incorporating project-based learning into our curriculum and using that project-based learning to do these projects. So you can see how it all fits together. We have an energy graduate group, which allows us lots of good talent to do that with. And then impact is when we try to bring people together and kind of scale this whole thing up by either taking our lessons and working with other universities, or taking other universities or campuses or cities and trying to bring those together and scale it up. And we have a thing called the Global Sustainable Campus Partnerships, is where we work with other campuses. And then this Global Energy Manager Workshop is kind of a culmination of that, those partnerships. So we'll talk more about who came and GEM's history in a second. So progress, Josh, you want to talk about this for a minute?
Yeah, and if you can click one more time, it'll do a little animation on that energy dashboard. But I just wanted to give you guys an example of a few projects that we do on campus that feed into this overall process and the context for sharing with other campuses. There's anything from our campus energy feedback team that works on this campus energy education dashboard. Please look it up and check it out. We've got a Trim the Waste program that's really about engaging occupants in buildings. We have a team that's funded out of the energy savings that they're earning on campus with projects in the buildings and the HVAC controls. That's showing the savings at the top there, growing over time and funding their team. And then we have projects like our Big Shift, which we'll talk about later today, actually putting pipe in the ground and converting to electrification and hot water district heating. So these are the types of projects we're actually implementing that then we can tie into research, which is the next slide.
Yep, and just to chime in, the thing you see in the middle, which is SEED, which is the energy dashboard, I do encourage people to go there. That's one of the first things that most campuses do before they start doing energy savings is figure out where all the energy is going.
Yeah, thanks, Brianna. Just dropped a link in the chat. So examples of research is, can be tied into some of these websites we've developed. For example, our thermostat feedback system. It's called a participatory thermal sensing, and we've done published papers around that. A lot of researchers on campus that are involved. On the other side of it, with our chill water district cooling system, we did optimization of that and published a paper. One of our grad students in the energy graduate group, Devin, shown there, got her master's thesis on this concept, and then we're using the results to actually optimize our campus energy usage during the grid crisis in September we had here in California, and help the grid out as well as save energy for the campus and earn incentives through the demand response program. So good examples of some of the research that ties into the projects.
And then on the education side, we have project-based courses which we develop with different faculty. We call it client-focused project-based learning, where we have real clients, and personal agenda is to turn these students into real consultants. So when they go out into the world, they're given a client or a problem, they can start from zero and start asking the right questions, using interdisciplinary approach to solving these problems, because we all know they're not technical, or they're not largely technical to solve. And so we call that the environmental, economic, technical, and social lenses. We're fortunate that we have a big graduate group here, energy graduate group. We have up to 20 students per year in there, and they generally take at least this course, which I'm talking about, which is a path to zero net energy. And these get students introduced to these problems. Also, we have student researchers who are working directly in these positions for a year or two. So working not only in their coursework, but in kind of on-the-job training. We also have traveled to other universities and set up similar programs and collaborated with other universities all around the world. And lots of success stories. I tell people that I actually don't know of a single student that comes through our program that wanted a job that didn't get it. So our students are working all over the place. Some are working for other universities in their energy places. Some are working for nonprofits, and some are working as energy consultants. So a really good track record with employment for students, and they're coming back, and I think you're going to see some today. And then impact. Well, we started this with a 2019 workshop, Global Energy Managers. Probably some of you were there. We have 150 people here already today. We're slated to get more. And that was actually live, and it was 70 participants, and we got people from seven countries, 40 campuses in 5 states. And that was awesome. It was in person. This is obviously before COVID. Then the next year, we moved to 2020. We moved online for obvious reasons, and we got 250 people from 46 universities, 13 states. And really, 8 different countries. It expanded the reach of this workshop. We were really happy about that. 2021, similarly, 200 plus, it was online, super successful. And then when we planned this one, we were wondering whether it should be virtual or it should be in person. And we had such good luck with the virtual workshop. What we figured we would do was have the virtual workshop like the last 2 years, but then we would use that as a a jumping off point to plan an in-person one that might be a bit smaller. So we're going to talk a little bit later about what we might do at that in-person workshop, and there'll be a way for you to participate and be interactive with the subject matter there, as well as being a participant. Josh, did I miss anything?
No, I think we've got a few stats we can talk about briefly for who's registered for the workshop today. Just because it is Zoom and it's hard to get a grasp of who's on the call, but really it is global. We got people from all over the world on the list that was on the last slide, but this is just to give you a feel for it. We appreciate this people, different time zones jumping on. It'll also be recorded so it can be shared widely. As far as the US, if you jump to the next slide, we really get, this started with a group of energy managers in the UC system, but then we realized we wanted to share it more broadly, and it's been just really exciting, the interest level across the whole country and across the world. So we asked you guys in your registration survey a few questions, and the next few slides just give you an idea of where you're all working, what kind of industry, a number of students, which is exciting, some utilities. We've got a lot of people working in campus facilities maintenance. That's not surprising given it's an energy managers workshop. But we also have a number of government, a lot of California government, and other education, even K through 12 school districts. So I'm really excited to see the diversity here. This one really just shows that energy use, of course, like Kurt said, is one of the first things you need to track, and people are doing it all kinds of different ways. There's some common themes, Sky Spark being one of them that we can talk about more later, but there's a lot of different things out there, and that's part of this conversation where we can share. As far as the goals for the day, I think it's interesting that a majority of you are very interested in the roadmap for energy carbon reduction. And that's of course the theme for today's workshop. So we're glad you're signed up.